Why do some communities recover from environmental hazards faster and more successfully than others? In the midst of a changing climate, this is a pivotal question for communities around the world. According to a quote from the Southeast Florida Regional Climate Change Compact, here in Southeast Florida, this means higher temperatures, shifting rainfall patterns, and more frequent extreme rain events as well as drought. Our seas are rising, causing increased flooding, saltwater intrusion, and various other health impacts. While we know how various locations will fare against these hazards based on physical properties and exposure, what is happening at the community level? To answer this question, we have to understand the social systems, interactions, capacities, strengths, and weaknesses that characterize a community's resilience and shape their experiences with environmental hazards.
The Center for Environmental Studies at Florida Atlantic University is a research, teaching, and community engagement unit that focuses on coastal resilience and wetlands ecology. In the coastal resilience domain, we have recently partnered in the last year or so with the Estates of Fort Lauderdale community, and we have embarked on a partnership with them to try and characterize and understand their climate resilience. Community resilience research is important because often research on environmental hazards focuses on the exposure or the sensitivity of a community, that is, the extent to which the place might be experiencing a particular hazard or the extent to which the community might suffer damages from the hazard. What we have to add to the equation is how people respond in anticipation of the hazards once they have been given some good information about the hazards, or how they respond to the hazard after it has passed. And once we include the response ability, or what we call adaptive capacity, then we have a more complete picture of how people experience environmental hazards.
Community resilience is so important because we are experiencing so many challenges to our resilience at this point. We are experiencing hazards at an alarming rate that communities need to be prepared to address.
Our collaboration with the Estates of Fort Lauderdale, which involved countless listening sessions and survey administration, helped to illuminate the community's strengths and capacities, as well as identify any areas for improvement. We were not only able to identify and qualify elements such as community connectedness, accessibility, and preparedness and response efforts, but we're also able to identify how such elements and efforts contribute to the overall resilience picture for the community. In order to continue pushing forward with this effort today, CES has recently facilitated a series of community resilience photo workshops with members of the community. This engagement platform has allowed community members to share their climate story as only they themselves can tell it from an immersive angle that only they know and see.
That's a valuable tool to be able to look at the pictures and see what people were relating to as the weak points that they showed and what people were relating to as the mitigation efforts that they were undertaking as a result, because there was some photography of some work that was done to mitigate future damage. And those kinds of things are personalized in the work. And I think that added dimension of personalizing hazard mitigation, personalizing reaction and response, and making it look profoundly local. And it's also very, very important contribution to Southeast Florida's continuing documentation on a timeline of what people are experiencing with the increased hazards that are caused by climate change.